Hello. In the last class, we stopped in the page number 98, so we shall continue with the same chapter of Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye by George Mikes. So, in the last class, we started with the gesture or the mannerism of bowing in the Japanese, okay? And we saw how there are infectious bowing has become infectious, and there is hierarchy in bowing, and the family members have to bow down to each other, and girls are hired to bow to people at escalators. And so here we have stopped in page number 98. So I have marked in a pen, okay? So there, on the famous and fast Tokyodo line between Tokyo and Osaka, two conductors enter the carriage in a slightly theatrical scene. They march to the middle of the coach, bow ceremoniously in both directions, and then start checking the tickets. So here the conductors who are working in Tokyo, in the Tokyo, the line between Tokyo and Osaka. So the conductors, they bow down ceremoniously to each other. Okay, they bow down ceremoniously before starting their work. Okay, before starting their job. So here the two conductors who are working in the lane of the Tokyo and Osaka, so they bow down to each other and respect each other, and then start collecting the tickets. Okay, so that's what it talks about. Then in one of the part of Nara, I met a deer. I bought a packet of food for him, and he came up to me, looked into my eyes, and bowed deeply. It was no just chance gesture; it was a proper and courteous bow. Perhaps deer are more imitative than I knew. Perhaps if they see people bowing all the time, they get into the habit too. Perhaps it is something genetic and it is in the blood of Japanese deer. I do not know, but I do know that the deer bowed to me. They jumped at me and snatched the little food bag from my hand. Okay. So here, after talking about the conductors, okay, now the traveler has talked about how conductors bow down ceremoniously to each other and then start collecting the tickets. And so here the deer, okay, he has visited a park and he has seen a deer, and the deer he has got a packet of food for the deer, and the deer came to him and looked into his eyes and bowed deeply. Okay, so here the deer, the animal, also bows. Okay, so the deer also bows. It is not a chance of gesture, okay, but it is a proper courteous bow, like how people do, like how people bow. Same way deer bows down to the traveler. Okay, and here it was like deer has a habit of imitating, okay, imitating people, imitating whatever it sees. Okay, deer has the habit of imitating. So when it sees people, it sees people who are bowing down, right? Whoever passes by, and especially in the place like Japan, as it is a place where people bow down and respect each other, the deer has seen many peoples bowing down to each other. So it has started to imitate. It has started to imitate people, and it starts bowing down, and it has made it an habit. Okay, and it is in the blood of Japanese deer, okay, of bowing down. It is from the genetic. It has from the genetics, okay, heredity. It has come that the Japanese deer also bows down. But like he says, yes, for sure, deer bowed to me and it jumped at me and snatched the food bag from my hand. So first the deer saw into his eyes, then it bowed down, then it jumped on him, snatched the food bag from his hand. Okay. In this too, The deer was a true Japanese. You can often see people bowing to each other with ceremonious serenity at bus stops. As soon as the bus arrives, the bowing gentlemen are transformed into savages. They push each other aside, tread on each other's toes, and shove their elbows into each other's stomachs. So here there is other reality of Japan. Okay, he's trying to show the other side of the Japan people of Japan. Okay, so here he says, yes, the deer is a true Japanese, but you can often see people bowing to each other ceremoniously at the bus stops. People standing in the bus stops, like before, they was very well mannered, bowing, exchanging smiles, but after the bus arrives, they have become monsters. Okay, they have become monsters, savages, uncivilized people, because they push each other, they stamp the toes of each other, and they kick the stomachs of each other by their elbows. Okay, so this is how they are, like they have become uncivilized, they have become savages as soon as the bus arrives in the bus stop. Okay, so here it is a vague mannerism of Eastern people, but the traveler belongs to the Western. So he always thinks that our country is best. Okay, our country was best because he is those who was well mannered people. He has seen now he has seen the difference. Okay, because before the people were well mannered, bowing, exchanging smiles. But as soon as the bus arrives at the bus stop, the people becomes monsters, savages, uncivilized people who are hitting each other to enter the bus. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is eating soup. Okay. So till now we have seen about the well-mannered people and how they respect privacy and how the bowing is done, how it is done, and how the it shows the respect. Okay, and you also seen that how people react when bus is arrived at the bus stop. Okay, so now he's talking about eating soup. Okay, eating soup has more dangers than almost anything else. When eating soup, you must make a fearful noise. It is a sign of appreciation. If you don't, your hostess will think, what an ill-mannered lout. But if you do, she will think, no reasonably well-brought European makes such disgusting noises when eating soup. He must be an ill-mannered lot. Okay, so here, eating soup. Okay, when they are eating soup, like it is like a business. Okay, everyone who eats soup has to make sound. Okay, here in Japanese, when you're eating soup, see for example in our country, when usually when we drink coffee or tea, we make a slur sound. Okay, so many will think that it is a bad habit, and many will have that habit of making sound while drinking something. Okay, so especially in our countries, when we drink tea or coffee, so we will always make a slur sound. Not many, but some people do make that sound. Similarly, in Japan, when they are eating soup, they have to make a sound. Okay, so here we consider it as ill mannered, but there, if you don't make the sound, then it is ill mannered. Okay, you have to make a sound. Okay, or else it is considered as ill mannered. Okay, slurping sound, you have to make slurping sound when you eat soup. It is a technique that has to be followed, ends this travelogue about Japan. So here, even when you're eating soup, you have to make sound, or else you will be considered as ill-mannered slot. Okay, so bad. Here the traveler makes sound. Okay, but he makes too much sound. Okay, he is too noisy. He makes too much noise when he is eating soup, because he is trying to imitate the manner of Japan. Okay, but he is making too much noise. So even now he is considered as ill mannered, because he has to learn the technique of how much noise he has to make and how long he has to make that sound. Okay, so you know how disgusting it is. Even if you make noise, you will be called ill mannered. If you don't make noise, you will be called ill mannered. Okay, so yeah, after this stops about the travelogue about Japan. Okay, so he ends his travelogue about Japan. He stops telling about Japan. So I think now you got to know like how, what all he talks about Japan. So we shall continue. So now, first he spoke about Japan. Now he's talking about Brazil. Okay, traffic in Brazil. So here before he in Japan he talks about their mannerisms, but now in Brazil he is not talking about mannerism. He is talking about the traffic, which is the most irritating one in the Brazil. Okay, nobody hurries in Brazil. It does not really matter whether you reach your destination an hour too soon, a day late, or not at all. The grey pavements in the streets of Copacabana are often decorated with beautiful black mosaics, a unique type of decoration only a people alive to beauty in their surroundings to who have plenty of time for contemplation during their meditative ambulatory exercises would take the trouble to decorate the pavements they walk. So here the traffic in Brazil. So here nobody hurries. Okay, not keen on punctuality. So here in Brazil nobody will hurry because they don't care about reaching an hour too soon or a day late or not at all. Okay, they don't worry about punctuality. There is no punctuality in this place called Brazil. And the grey pavements in the streets of Copacabana are often decorated with beautiful black mosaics, a unique type of decoration. So here before Brazil, he talked about Japan, about their mannerism, but here in Brazil he talks about traffic which is horrible, and he always talks about the negative thing. It shows the negative things about the traffic in Brazil, and he thinks that how good his country should be, because when you're talking about some other country, about some other traffic place, obviously your country would be better. Okay, because now he is thinking like how my country would be. So his country is very good mannered. Okay, America, where the traffic in America is very smooth. Okay, but here in Brazil it is very horrible, it is very negative, and nobody hurries. There is no punctuality. They do it very slowly, keen on keeping the time. There is no punctuality about time. And the pavements in Copacabana, they are mosaic decoration, very beautiful. Okay, very beautiful decoration and artistic. Okay, only a people alive to the beauty in the surroundings and would have plenty of time for contemplation during their meditative ambulatory exercises would take the trouble to decorate the pavements they walk on. So here people who live on the pavements, okay, people who live on the pavements and people who like to decorate the pavements. So the pavements in Copacabana are filled with mosaic decoration and people are very artistic. Okay, and the traveler appreciates the decoration and people who are artistic. Okay, so here he says there are people who are very artistic and creative in Brazil. Okay, so we shall stop here. We shall continue in the next class.